Cast shadows. So let's take a basic example. We have a light source and we have a post. We have another post. So the cast shadow, you need to have a ground plane. The cast shadow has to be cast onto something. And so what you do is you take your light source and you drop it down to the ground. So let's say my light source is right there. And from your light source on the ground, you pass through the bottom of the object that you're casting a shadow from. And then from the light source again, you come down and you pass through the top. And so this object would be casting from this light, here's a line, a shadow that looks like that. Okay? So we have, this is our shadow direction. Here's our light source. Here's our light direction. And here's our connection with the ground. And so for any object, this is how you can figure out where a cast shadow will be, how, the shape of it, the length of it, the direction of it. A lot of times if you're drawing something outside, the sun is a great distance away, and we can simply represent this schema as a triangle. And the triangle has in it the connection with the ground. It has the shadow direction. It has the light source and the light direction. Okay, so let's take this triangle and apply it to an object. Let's say I've got a cube. And I want to take this. So here's my light direction. Here's my ground direction. I'm going to start out with my ground direction. So there's the ground direction. I'm taking it from there. Okay? We're saying in this schema, my light source is directly overhead. And the light direction is coming down at about that kind of an angle. And that becomes my cast shadow. Now this can get to be kind of fun. Like let's say for instance we have a person. And you could say my light source, let's imagine my light source is we'll start out with my light source about here. So my light source is there. It's really low. I use this as my horizon line. So the light source is really low on the horizon line. And so its connection with the ground, I can say, is right there. I'm going to connect the ground with him. And it goes this way. And now this time, this line goes out and it goes really high. So all that's going to happen is his shadow is going to go out this way, and it's going to fade. And look at this, the light comes through here, so we're going to see this long, long shadow of his legs, which is going to just fade into nothing as it goes that way. So this is first thing in the morning. This is like 7 a.m. Okay. Now let's say at 11 o'clock he's still standing in the exact same place. If he's just going to stand around all day, I think I want to give him arms like this. So there he is, just standing there all day. So 11 a.m. right here is 11. The sun has moved up in the sky. We're going to connect it down. I'm going to go just below the horizon line to say that's where the ground plane is. And now the shadow direction passing through the bottom, it's changed a little bit. It comes this way, passing through the bottom of the other side. It comes that way. And now the light direction is higher, comes down, and now his shadow ends here. So we'd see his head here and his shoulders there. Now we've got an 11 a.m. shadow direction. Now let's say 3 o'clock. I guess isn't it 12 o'clock? The sun is directly overhead. So we'll say it's 12 o'clock. This time, that'll be my shadow direction starts to come towards me. But when I come down from the light source, it ends, his shadow is just below him. It's right there, just below him, because this comes straight down to the ground. And even though the ground plane wants it to go further, and so we can move it over now to like 3 in the afternoon. And I'm going to go to about here. And now it comes to here, drop down to the ground plane, and over. Okay? And if, say, I want to get a full width, I can go to the front of his feet and the back of his feet from that. And from here I can find where his shoulders are. So his head is about here, his body is about here. So his shadow would look about like that. One other thing that can be kind of fun, let's say we have an object here, like a wall. And I want to bring this time the light is going to come way down. And let's say I want to move it forward on the ground plane so that it can hit the wall and come to there. So now it goes like this, and where it hits the wall, that's fine. And then from the ground plane, what you do is this guy, where it hits the ground, like from here, it hits the ground right there. And then here, it hits the ground right there. So here's where it would go to there. But then the ground has to come upwards. So then here, when the ground is coming upwards, and this guy hits the ground right there, and right there. And according to this light, he's casting that shadow on the wall. So we figure out where the light source is. We figure out how it interacts with the ground plane. And what we do is, so we figure out the light source. Here's my light source. Where is that light over the ground? Here's the ground. How does that light go from where it hits the ground through this person. That's how it does it. Okay? What's the angle that the shadow is going to come at? And in this case, it's like that. So this would be like this would be kind of a shadow cast from a low street light, like if you're walking through the park or something like that, they sometimes have these big globes. Okay.